Hello everyone, welcome to another Foundry dev stream. Our today's topic is the world of Foundry. We're going to talk about the visuals, the art, a bit of the technology behind it, the decorative pieces, and all the other things that are going to be related to the topic. Today here with me we have Yog, our Channel 3 co-founder and our most talented engineer on the project, and Jason, our art director, who's responsible for the glorious looks of all those trees and buildings in here.
Why did you have to start by making it embarrassing? You could have just said, hi, here's a guy, he works on the game, but no. Thank you, it's very kind of you.
Yog, you are a god among us.
Oh God.
This is gonna go really well. I'm so happy to be here, guys. I love all of you.
So see, there's already the first question in chat. So the trees and cactus are Jason's fault? Well, potentially. So, yeah. Glad to have you here. First time on the stream, so that's going to be fun. As always, we're also going to answer all sorts of questions from the chat, so if you have something, type it and we'll try to answer as much as possible. And that being said, I'd say we're going right into it. I think before we are starting with the biomes and the world, we already have this really beautiful shot of a lake and some background vegetation, but I think what we're going to do is we'll start with the decor pieces and what you can make out of them, because we actually have a building behind of us, and this building has been made by Jason over the last couple days. You might ask
22 hours. 22 hours.
More than 22 hours now.
Oh, that's right. You did
I made
landscape
this garden.
That was 50 hours, right? The garden you were
How long does it take for these trees to grow? Because that's like, it took me a while to just sit and watch the trees to grow.
Oh, right. Yeah, they take up to an hour or something to grow.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah. So I haven't shown the whole building yet. I think it's time to zoom out and show off why this took you so long.
Yeah. Basically, we were supposed to just come on today and talk about just biomes and trees and vegetation and stuff like that. But Jason just finished this yesterday night, right? Is when you finished this? Is that right?
Yeah.
I think so.
Well, it's never done. Art is never done.
Oh my God.
So much more work to be done on this. But,
yeah. We just thought we'd show this first, and then we'll go look at some of the biomes in the world, because this thing's insane. It's so absurd. It's so good.
We're getting questions if it's bomb-proof. Well, I think we might already know how we're going to end this stream, but it's going to stay bomb-proof for now.
Seriously, look, I've spent 22 hours on this. What if you blow it up? Wouldn't that be cool?
It's interesting.
Great. Yeah. There's
I did start this building by blowing a massive, gigantic crater hole in the ground. If you go inside.
Sure. Let's
My whole dream for this building is to make it a giant robot assembly line factory.
Where's the door, Jason?
It's in the front.
On the front. Okay.
It's only one door right now.
Only one door.
I need to put. I haven't planned out my doors yet, so.
Yeah.
But
okay.
I mean, I started building some assembly line down there. I was gonna get some.
Oh, there it is.
Hurry up.
Yeah. This is what's silly about this, is that he has spent, well, let's say 28 hours now, and it is the least productive factory that anyone has ever built, because he hasn't started on that part.
Hey.
He just made this beautiful block
now.
where he can set up a factory, but he hasn't.
It's a beautiful canvas for an amazing factory.
So he basically used a creative mode. Like, he basically spawned all these things so he can set himself up to eventually actually fill it with factory things. Also, by the way, I don't think we're going to show it on this stream, and it might be in this week's Foundry Friday, but I don't think we've decided yet. But there's a time lapse of him building this to some cool music, which is really, really cool, which we're going to share at some point. Like, it starts off as just a little chunk of forest, and then you see him do this whole thing. He made, what was it, 35 seconds is the short version of the video?
Yeah, but the actual time lapse is like half an hour. So
Yeah.
imagine there's a lot of work that went into this, it's a labor of love, you know. It's a real love letter to factory building in this game.
We are actually going to show that
future
off.
factory building.
Yeah.
The time lapse will be in tomorrow's Foundry Friday. So if you like to see this building getting built in a time lapse, make sure to follow us on Steam and to be notified when tomorrow's Foundry Friday blog post drops.
That is such a good promo. That your transition to please follow us on Steam. Please wishlist now. Please buy our game. Yeah. All of that. Yes, no, it was really good. I'm very proud of you, Patrick.
Well, you know, I'm learning on how to drop the right words on stream.
Yeah. Natural.
So speaking of time lapse, I think it's worth showing how this building was actually made, and I already see you building, Jason. So for everyone that hasn't seen much of our game before, the whole building is made out of small voxel blocks. So everything you see is just a small piece that was placed by hand. See, like this, you can remove it, place it again. And we have plenty of different decor pieces like these, and we'll show them all off in detail later, but just that you are able to understand the work that went into this. It's like every small block was placed by hand.
This is why it's 28 hours as opposed to like 4 or 5. It's just all these itty bitty little pieces.
Yeah, well, and it gives you a lot of options then, right? Like the tricky thing building any kind of Lego kit set, like we set out to build like just a base starter set, and then it's like, oh, I want that piece. Oh, there's always one more piece, and even like to really, this set will just never stop. You're going to keep adding to it, and we're getting tons of great feedback from players already, sort of having access to it. What other shapes and sizes and bits that we would really need to be like super creative with what we're building. So that's definitely coming, more in the works. I've got a huge list going of pieces that I want, and of course, to really understand what pieces you need, you have to actually start building stuff. So that's kind of really the main reason why I set out to build this building, something huge. Is like, okay, well, are there any missing pieces? And of course, there's tons of missing pieces. So keep working on that.
This is basically like as if you could actually design your own Lego pieces. Like,
I know, right?
Yeah, like Jason is modeling these pieces in Blender and then texturing them. Then he sticks them in the game. Then he builds something in the game with the pieces that he modeled. Then he goes back and he's like, "Oh, I really need a piece like this," and he can just go make a new Lego piece. Like, and no one's stopping him. You can just make whichever one you want.
Right? It's like you're a kid playing Lego, or kid. I'm an adult. I still play Lego. But yeah, like as you're, just kind of manufacture the pieces on the fly.
How do you adult and build a base like this over the course of 28 hours? That seems difficult. How do you do your adulting and this? You don't.
Right?
Okay.
My kids are growing up enough they can take care of themselves. But a lot of time spent on this game for sure. Yeah. It's funny because he spent a lot of time playing the game, and he's like, "Oh, geez, I need to like actually get into developing the game as well." Like, so it's a constant like balancing act of like, how much do I play? I get lost just playing the game for hours. I'm like, "Oh, geez, I should get back to work." But it is. It's
work. Your job.
Yeah.
So it's
look at that.
Building this is part of your job. That sounds pretty good to me.
Right.
We have one question here. Will there be any way to build like this without placing every block individually? Maybe a good case for blueprinting. So what we have right now is like drag modes. So I have this slope piece selected. I can drag this and place it all at once. There are a couple more advanced drag modes, so we also can drag it up there. Stuff like that to make this as convenient as possible. Yes?
Show the reverse slope, because when that went in, that was a glorious day. Like when I could just.
Oh, you mean the smaller one?
And then.
Sure.
Build the underside as well, right afterwards.
Let's see.
Right.
Maybe like here. This, and yeah, if you rotate this accordingly, we can build the underside as well in one go. So there is already a lot of convenience related to building. To answer your question about the blueprints as well, we've said that already a couple of times before. We do want to add blueprints at some points, but they're not going to be part of early access. It's a little bit too early in the game. We still want to work a bit on a couple of the other core mechanics before we go into blueprinting, but blueprints are generally speaking pretty integral part of factory games. So that is something we're going to look at some point.
Yeah, building prefab kind of modular sections. That'll be a huge help for me. Like just all these things come up when you build a building, right? So you like build one kind of structure and you want to repeat it 4 more times.
Yes.
That'll be amazing.
Right now I'm showing off the paint tool. All those blocks here can be colorized by a couple preset colors, but you can also add your own colors like this and go with whatever you prefer. Colorizing.
I only use preset colors because when I tried to make my own color, so when I used the pre-made colors, it was ugly because I'm bad at it, not because the game's ugly, because I just have no sense of aesthetics. And then when I tried to use custom colors, it was really ugly. So the preset colors are very appreciated for me.
There's no ugly. That's all.
Jason, don't say that because I will put something in the game and you'll be like, okay, that might be ugly.
It's
relative, it's true.
Does painting have a cost? At the moment it doesn't. It's not sure if we may be going to change that at some point. We do actually have paint as a liquid in the game, because I'm not going to reveal everything yet, but you're creating certain things. I mean, we actually have revealed that already, so I can just be more precise. It's really hard to keep track of what we have shown off and what not. But you'll be making robots on those assembly lines we have shown before, and at the last step, you're colorizing / painting the robot. And for that, we're already producing a liquid called paint, and that could be used here, but that's also pretty far in the game, so it's not really clear we would want to lock you out of colorizing your stuff. Probably not. Maybe we could do something else. It's important for us that you can be creative as much as you want, so we don't want to delay those features too much, but it's something worth thinking about in general to add a bit more gameplay to the creative aspect as well.
I mean, we do have the cost is kind of folded in what you build, right? Like you actually, like all the things you build cost materials, like whether you build glass or whether you build cement or whether you build the floor tiles. So getting the structure in place has cost, but painting it does not. But we could do like maybe it's like a royal purple or something, and you have to get some rare flower, and you can't actually pick that color in the custom color picker, and like you have to do this whole factory setup just to pump little drops of royal purple to get them in your base.
Yeah.
And the only reason you'll have to do all this is because someone in the chat suggested that there should be a cost. Before it was all free.
Yeah.
And then we're like, no, let's make a whole gameplay loop around this amazing color.
Mix plants together, it's special dyes, you know.
Yeah.
Here's another one. Will there be missions in the game? Well,
Will there be what, sorry?
missions. Yeah.
Oh,
I thought you said mittens.
I heard mittens. And I said, how did we forget mittens?
No, I'm not sure. Did I really say that? Did I not say missions?
We both, I think you
don't
said
know.
missions, and both me and Jason misunderstood. Sorry.
Maybe it's the accent. I'm sorry.
No.
So, regarding missions, I don't know if I would call it missions. That might be a bit too much. I assume you're asking like for story and stuff like that. So we have something we call it a slight narrative. There are like narrative elements. There are a couple voice lines, dialogues. You have a companion. We haven't revealed much about yet, but he plopped up once or twice in previous streams. So there is a bit of a goal you're doing, but overall it's a sandbox game. So there is no like really deep story and like one mission after another you're following or progressing. The game lets you play at your own pace and enjoy the freedom.
I'm gonna do a little non-factory thing real quick. Someone said hi from Australia in the chat, and this opportunity's in front of me. I have to take it. I learned something about Australia and Austria last year, and I asked. So Patrick's from Austria, so I'm going to share this. And apparently, in Austria, they sell T-shirts at tourist locations that say there are no kangaroos in Austria, because enough people fly to the wrong place. And look this up online, I'm not kidding. People, like the tourist shops have no kangaroos in Austria T-shirts.
This is very common here.
Yeah, which is absurd.
There's also...
But yeah, so Patrick's from Austria, and then there's two other people from Austria who work on the game, and someone in the chat is from Australia, so I don't think this will come up again as an opportunity to tell this story. So I just had to jump in there, guys. I had to.
Right. Yeah, it's also quite common that if you ship something to Austria, it ends up delayed by a lot, and then like there's a sticker on the package where it says that it accidentally went to Australia first, and that's why it took 3 weeks longer. So yeah, it's not that uncommon. It's not like happening all the time, but I had that happen like twice in my life. So yeah, it's happening.
Which is more than you would expect.
Indeed.
Anyways, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to distract. I just had to.
It's fine.
Do you want to, I was just going to suggest, do you want to go to the gardens outside?
Yeah.
Real quick?
That was exactly what I was about to say. Maybe we should go outside and take a
This
look.
is a great glass floor skylight thing we built here, guys.
Yeah.
I did not. I did not contribute because
Immediately
again,
deconstruct after this stream.
yeah.
I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
I was just going to say, if I helped build it, Jason, you would understand that not all art is beautiful. It would be very clear. I could teach you about non-beautiful art. Like, it's something you could learn on stream. But yeah, the gardening, like all the plants and stuff here are stuff that Jason replanted himself. So basically, like even though you have to make room for your factory to produce a bunch of stuff, you can build back up the nature around it or plant it for fun or decorate your base with it. The water isn't something you can move yet in game, but that's something we'll probably add, both in terms of gameplay of being able to move it, but just in terms of creative tools of being able to fill the areas with water and build moats and little things like this.
I'm planting little mushrooms.
Yeah, I just
garden.
planted a couple trees to show off how it works. So they start really small. I hope you can see that. Here is our tree that I just planted. It will just need another 25 minutes or so until it is
Yeah.
a reasonable size. But that's how it. Oh no! Yo, what happened?
The water kind of works a little bit like Minecraft water, with just some slightly fancier shaders on it. So basically, I dug out. Oh, you can't see my screen, so but you can see I dug out the 2 blocks there, and then it goes out a certain number of tiles. And then if you replace the blocks, I do have the blocks. I should replace them. 1 sec. So this should work. If I go and replace the blocks, I can basically patch this up. Because we're not really looking to like create a frustrating experience where like you accidentally dig up a block and then your factory's flooded and you can't play anymore. It's more just kind of like a decorative element, but also like you do need, some of your buildings do need water, so you need to place pumps and stuff inside your inside liquid, but you'll never really be in a spot where you're like, hey, my whole factory shut down because I accidentally dug up a block and now I have to spend the next 30 minutes dealing with that mess.
Yeah, that could be frustrating, so we decided against that. There's also a couple other reasons like performance, and it seems simple at first, and then you realize that it comes with a couple of edge cases that aren't particularly nice to handle. So we went with the more simplistic solution.
The truth is, so I mean, I say like this is what we went with. Like before this game, I used to work on Oxygen Not Included. If anyone's worked or played that, like that game is very much like, hey, I accidentally made a mess, I need to clean it up. There's no reason, like this game is going more on the focusing on I want to, min-max my factory buildings and make the perfect production lines. There's no reason why, if people wanted to, someone could just add a mod, which is basically like, hey, if the buildings are underwater, they just totally break or something like that, and you could mod in that difficulty if that's something you'd like to see out of this experience.
You just answered one of the chat's questions, because one of them was if people can mod in more decorative pieces.
So the short and long of it is it's a work in progress. I think the medium answer is currently with enough persistence, like similar to how there's like basically with any game, like if the developers haven't added mod support, like someone who's dedicated enough can like reverse engineer it and stuff and get stuff like that in. So currently, like it's a work in progress. So you could get stuff in if you did a little bit of work. But yes, I have myself modded in not just decorative things. Like I've modded a new logistics building into the game as well. But that work is still ongoing. So when early access comes out, like you can see on our Discord that some people have made some mods already, and you can go ahead and download those manually and put them in a mods folder and install them yourself. But eventually, you'll be able to do. I believe City Skylines has a similar setup. Is basically you can open up a Unity project and then you can bring your models in, and then hook up whatever you want to them, and then bring them into the game. And you could not just like new decorative like trees or whatever, but you could actually make your own container or make like a candy themed factory that spits out candy bars and just replace everything with what you want it to look like.
Yo, here's another question for you. Is this
now, why me?
Well, this one's certainly for you.
Oh, good.
Is this a custom engine?
So it uses Unity, but here's what I will say that we've customized. So it uses Unity. If you're familiar with Unity and you're curious, it uses the built-in render pipeline. But there's a lot of the rendering in here where I'm using some of the fancier Unity API calls to do some GPU-based rendering, which is one of the features that's coming in the new Unity version, Unity 6. But basically, it wasn't out yet, so we made our own. The simulation itself is done in C++. So even though that's not, even though we're using Unity, there's a big chunk of the game there, which is just custom C++, which sends data back and forth, so we can write a very fast simulation. And then, yeah. Other than that, it is a Unity project with some decent overhaul to some areas of the game, mostly around making stuff run fast.
And thank you for that, Yog.
What? Okay.
I keep adding more and more stuff to the game. Then
can I tell you what my
making it
experience
run
as a
faster.
developer on this is? Actually, this is Patrick's experience too. I think this is how all this stuff came up. So even before I joined, Patrick had this game on itch, and then some of the hardcore players made these huge factories, and he's like, I can't do this simulation in C#, it's too slow. And then he ported it to C++ because the players basically started making these huge factories. So cool, that's done. So then I joined. I was like, these cool factories, they sim fine, but it doesn't render fast enough. So then I overhauled a lot of the CPU rendering stuff to make that fast, and that's cool. And then Jason joined, and he's like, hey, I'm going to make the game look beautiful and stuff. And then the GPU just didn't work at all. So there's just like, there's this constant pressure both from internal team members and also like community members. If you saw the RDA trailer, some of those bases in there with the Steam NextFest demo, they ran at like 10 FPS. Our composer for the main menu music made one of the really cool bases, and I had to help him out by getting him an early preview of some of the optimization work I was doing, because he's like, I can't continue my base. Doesn't work. So I was like, so I did a bunch of optimization for him, and then now that base runs at about like 100 FPS. And now, because of that, he's gone off and he's making like his new crazy mega base, which at some point I imagine he'll come back and be like, hey, guess what? I made too much factory again. I need some help. And then, and that's how development goes on this game.
Exactly. Well,
yeah.
What would you guys say if we move away from the building and start exploring some biomes? Jason, is there still something you want to show about the building, or are we good to venture off from here?
I think we're pretty good. Like, I'm just really looking forward to getting this game out and getting tons of feedback on like the pieces that we have and pieces that would be great to still have in the future. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, we just need to get the game out and get people playing it and trying these pieces.
Okay. Perfect.
Let's go. Let's go on an adventure.
Let's,
yeah.
While they're finding a cool place to go, I just thought I'd like, you can go ahead, Patrick or Jason, and I think Jason has some spots he wants to show off in this area. But for those who don't know, the whole world's procedurally generated. So like there's different map seeds, and they'll all look different. So you get different backdrops for your factory. And the other thing is that, and I want to be careful when I say this because I don't want to oversell what it is. The code allows for an infinite world, which means you can run in a given direction for as long as you want, and it'll keep generating new world for you. The truth is like there's no game that actually has infinite world. At a certain point, your machine can't handle it. So I don't want to overstate that, but you can just pick any random map seed you want, and you can explore in a very large area, and you won't see anything that you see in any other map seed. So your little pond or your little hill or this huge mountaintop that you find in your map seed in your area of the map, that's basically yours, and no one else is going to see that.
Yes, and that's extremely exciting. It's always fun to look at new map seeds or just go farther in one direction to see what's coming next. Jason, here's one for you. Will there be snow and
Sorry,
will there be a snow biome?
We do have plans for other biomes coming in, and yeah, one of those is a tundra biome that is more of like the cold. That's one thing we don't have in the game yet, is that we got like the deserts and all that gets hot, and then we got like our moderate climates, like our forests and grasslands. But you know, look forward to that. Some tundra. cold biomes coming as well, and other ones too. Like, so just to really flesh out the variety that we want. The more biomes we have, it's going to be better and easier to blend between biomes that make sense, because we want to like base it all off temperature, right? So like you wouldn't want to have a desert right beside, you know, a lush, boreal kind of fir tree forest.
Yeah, so the way the world generator works, there's like, it basically creates two patterns. One is temperature and the other one is humidity, and based on that we're deriving the biome type that leads to exactly what you just described. Like the biomes that are bordering each other are biomes that actually make sense, so you'll never have a jungle next to a tundra and things like that.
Exactly. I'll go through some questions real quick. So can you adjust the biome seed to give more mountains or more desert? So currently in game, you can't really control the different percentages of things, but I'm pretty sure Michael's one of the other engineers on the project. Like, he's set that all up, so it's pretty close to being ready to be moddable. And we might even in our initial screen allow you to tune that, but the answer is no. What we've seen so far is that because our game was in the Steam Next Fest and it was on itch before, and we see people who currently share seeds of like someone's like, hey, do you have a cool flat desert or something like that, and someone will share a map seed that they like with a desert. I'm not sure what you mean by or Snakes Games, I'm not sure what you might mean by does the game have 32 or 64 limit to size.
I guess it's
and
about
then,
the bit, 32 or 64 bit.
If it is that, then it's 64 bit, if that is the question. And then the one about are there specific resources in specific biomes? The answer is not currently. The only like small little thing we have right now is that like you've talked, I mean, there's a Steam post about this, so I'm not spoiling anything, but we've talked about the ore veins, and if you happen to have an ore vein that spawns in a mountain, you're kind of lucky because it'll effectively be taller and there's more resources available.
Yes, that's true. And as you said, Michael has already done a lot of preparation to make the world generator more customizable. We did not make it for the early access, but it's something that is probably not going to take a very long time until we can get that to you, that like when you start the game you can configure as amount of mountains, mountain height, stuff like that. We're not going to have everything configurable. Some things are easier to make customizable than others, but we'll bring you some customization options.
Yeah, the other thing that's worth mentioning is this, like our date, I think we mentioned our date, but if not, so the game's coming out May 2nd, but this is our early access launch. This isn't our 1.0 launch. So this is going to come out, a bunch of people play, give us a bunch of awesome feedback, and then we're going to continue adding stuff to the game. Things like that, things like more factory stuff, all sorts of things.
Yes.
That was a cool canyon we went through.
Absolutely. I loved that. That was really nice. It's like I'm going to show that from the top as well.
Yeah.
Patrick?
Yeah.
This one's for you, because I think there's a little bit of this. Could you talk a little bit about the resource distribution and amounts as you get further away from the start?
Yes. So actually, previously we had...
You can also say no.
No.
I just thought since you threw all these questions at me, it's only fair that I hit you with one.
Absolutely. No, so in previous blog posts or Discord messages, I was talking about how the resources get richer over distance. But that is now not fully accurate anymore because we tuned that a bit because we added a mechanic that it takes a little bit of effort, but you can make your ore veins infinite, convert them into infinite sources of ore. I don't want to go too much in detail here. You need to build a fracking tower on top, and we've showed that in last week's stream. So if you're interested, in 2 weeks, the stream 2 weeks ago was actually the one we showed off mining. If you're interested in that, you can watch that on YouTube, the recording. And because of how we changed it, that certain resources are now convertible into infinite sources, that made us also change the behavior that the ones farther away basically still give similar amount of resources. However, it is still that case, at least I think so. Hope I'm not wrong on that one now. That would be embarrassing.
You should have to know. I'm going to check right now. I'm going to fact check you on screen.
It should still be the case for oleomite, which is our liquid resource, or one of our liquid resources. And those reservoirs should have more over distance.
Can I get you to come to me real quick?
Sure.
I'm gonna wait. Where was I? I'm gonna talk about a thing, and Jason will probably talk about it as well. But it's something I like that I made in the game, which maybe other people don't like, but I'm still gonna talk. So, me and Jason had worked together. What was it? Like 7 years ago? It's the last time. It was a long time ago, right? That we last worked together.
Probably 10.
Oh my God. We're all. Oh, I'm sad now. Okay. So me and Jason, we used to work together at Capcom in Vancouver like 10 years ago. Did you work on Dead Rising as well, or just on the?
I worked on the Super Dead Rising Ultra.
Oh, that's right.
Speed.
Anyways, we worked on Dead Rising and some other things that didn't see the light of day, unfortunately. But anyways, the terrain here is stuff that I had worked on Dead Rising as well. So the blending is basically just taking the different textures and using height maps to blend between each other to get rid of like the blockiness that you see in something like Minecraft. And then this is actually, and to give credit where credit's due, this is basically, I had seen this on like a GDC Tech Talk that Uncharted did, and I did a simple version of it for this just to give it kind of this nice blend with the ground textures. And then Jason, what he gets to do is basically he's decided that there's like a dirt layer that lives on top of this forest, and this is why it has this cool little patches. So he just decides that there's this new layer and generates some or the game generates some noise for him based on the parameters he sets, and then that's how he can layer different things.
Yeah, it's a great way to I guess would you say compose a scene, like you want to break things.
That's a good word. It's a fancy word, Jason.
Very fancy. But it because the world is procedurally generated, like we're having to give it rule sets, right, for like how it's generated, and by doing so you can have it look a lot more natural than otherwise if everything was just kind of evenly distributed across. So we can do things like using those noise maps Rio gives me to fine tune them, and then assign certain plants and certain terrain textures to them, to those groups, so we can get clumping going on and create these interesting little paths here and there. It's all just randomly generated, but it looks like it's sort of got some natural erosion happening and whatnot that you would expect in real life.
Yeah, it looks like some artist spent some time on it. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
As opposed to just totally
really just me
like it looked
bugging
like before. Oh my God.
That's what you get when you combine the artist and the programmer.
You get magic. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Magic.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna do questions now, so we can stop talking about me.
While we're answering questions, let's have a look at the next biome too. We've spent a lot of time in the birch tree forest. Let's venture into a desert now.
Yeah.
Jason, which desert do you want to go next? The
Well, we got
sandy
the
or the
sandy
rocky?
desert here.
Sure.
The
Okay.
sandy desert. We ended off with the rocky desert. So sandy, yeah. This is like early on when I was first joining the team, like way back. We were putting this one together. But yeah, this one's like way more open, right? So we want each biome to have a different feel, different vibe, and it actually has gameplay implications as well, which is great because if you start in an open desert like this, it's a lot flatter. So it's it lends itself a little bit better maybe to getting a factory up and running, sprawling really fast. But resources like biomass and maybe a little bit sparser spread out. So there's always this kind of like trade-off going on. Do you think that's accurate, Patrick?
Yeah, absolutely. One thing real quick, because I saw that question coming up twice. What is the black in the desert? So this is the upper part of an ore vein. This you would have to dig out or excavate and find.
Do you have the scanner?
Yeah, I'm showing it off right now.
Oh, sorry. Never mind.
All
I'm
good.
sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, like it's worth pointing that out. Yeah, that's how you scan, and it shows you where you can attach the miners, and you need to dig down there and bring power down there, and like create elevators to move the items back up the ore, and on top this is where you then would place the fracking tower to convert it into something endless. And to answer another one as well, the amount of attachment points on an ore vein is currently not increasing by distance. This would probably be too overpowered with them being possible to be converted into an endless source of ore anyways already.
So some other questions. So Michael Piper, I'm not sure. What hardware are you running this on? Patrick, it's like in 3080, is that what you're running it on?
I am currently running this on a 3070 actually.
Yeah.
And
But
yeah.
All I was gonna say is that I've been doing a lot of work to have it run on like older hardware. One of our Mark, who's been on the other streams, who's not here right now, gave me his old crappy laptop that he doesn't want anymore. And you do have to, if you're running on older hardware, you do, like, if you go to the graphics settings, we have a bunch of graphics settings that you can turn down to get the game to run well on those. I also do a lot of testing on the Steam Deck. I actually have it. So the game will actually auto pick some settings that are good for the Steam Deck if you fire it up on that. And then the other one was the other person, who is Bluestone Creeper, was talking about some sort of different way for teams of people working on their own bases would be cool. Also, is it possible to have a large multiplayer server? I guess the two things about that are, so research is shared. So like there's nothing stopping you from both, like we've had this before, as some people join a server and like some players go off to the left, some players go off to the right. They go ahead and build their bases around some resources that they find. I think most people that I've seen have a good time between 2 to 4 people. Like I haven't really seen, there's nothing stopping. Like it's a deterministic game, so the network load is quite low. But I haven't really seen many people do like really large servers, but there's nothing stopping you from that. And then the other thing worth bringing up, and I don't want to promise this for EA, but it's something we're working on, which might make it for EA, is we're working on dedicated server support. So if you wanted to set up a server and then just leave that on so that you can join whenever you want, and then later that night your friend can join and build up the factory, and you wake up in the morning and see all this cool stuff, that's another thing that hopefully will be all ready, but I don't want to be recorded here saying that. Even though I'm pretty confident about it, I'll just disappoint if I say that it'll for sure be there.
If it's not there at early access, it's probably coming really quickly afterwards. Our progress on dedicated servers is really good, so we're all quite optimistic about that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Digging a
so
hole.
what's next? Shall we find some rocky desert next to show that
Sure.
one off? Okay, there's a big one to the east of us, so let's go there. It also looks really cool when there's some water mixed into the desert. It creates a really nice
Oasis.
Yeah, the blue and the yellow, it goes really nice together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one thing about colors is like with the factory, you notice a lot of the factory buildings are this kind of blue steel and grays mixed with a little, some accent colors. But it really, we're going with warmer colors in the biomes to really help, those factory machines pop against the background. We don't want the background setting to interfere too much with, what you're trying to see with your factory. That's another reason why we kind of went with this more stylized, clean, simple style for the art of the game, was to make it really, so the factory is very readable, and keeping the machines really, chunky and big in terms of the details helps with that. Helps you like at a glance look at your factory, understand what's going on. And then also, like, because of the voxel world, it just seemed to fit well with it, and keeping that sort of soft look to the environment as well as the machines also helped, with the overall chill vibes that we want to go for with this game. We want you to play, for hours and hours and hours on end in your factory. And the music too helps with that, like the chill vibes, the soundtrack that we've chosen for the game. But it's all in an effort to like kind of give you that kind of chill, calm, relaxing feeling when you're playing the game.
Absolutely. I think it's important for us to provide a style and a feeling that just feels comfortable and makes you enjoy staying in the world. That's the main reason why we picked the stylized style instead of going with something photorealistic. So it was personal preference at first, but still I think for the feeling that creates it's more comfortable. Sometimes it's just fun walking around in this world for several minutes or longer and just explore and see how everything looks. It's just very, very calm and relaxing.
Admit it, Patrick. So you meant to say you were deciding whether you're going to say several minutes or hours.
Yeah, I was
around.
thinking about like how long.
I know. In your head, you're like, how should I admit how long I spent doing this?
So,
I can see it.
So here's something too that's funny. Whenever we have some calls and meetings, sometimes if it's not super important, I'm just walking around in the world pointlessly in a single direction while having those calls. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Aaron Okianos, I'm sorry if I've mispronounced that, but said something that I had the same feeling, which is why one of the features was added to the game. So maybe it's my fault I caused work, but they say the biomes are really nice, so they're hesitant to cut them down, and I had the exact same feeling, which is why you can replant stuff. And at least for me, that alleviates it to a certain degree. It's like, hey, I'm making room for my factory stuff, but I can also go ahead and like restore the stuff that I've torn down. And then same person mentioned something or a suggestion for the biomes, which I think Michael hooked this up already. We just haven't had time to use it, but they were suggesting that the edges of the sand biome, you make like an oasis near the water. And I think Michael's already set that up where the same layers that you have randomly over a biome, you can decide to have a layer just around rivers or just around oceans. And Jason just needs to make some stuff.
It's
He's not
coming.
busy
It's all coming.
making a big base for 28 hours.
Yeah, so like the shorelines of all the biomes, and even like inside the water, like those biomes are just, they need some love. So that's coming. You know, we have the ability to have stuff that's just along the shore or at a certain depth. You know, adding coral in the sea and all that kind of stuff is something really look forward to adding, and just, you know, adding more variety and fleshing out this world some more with those other biomes that are coming in as well. So it's pretty exciting. Like, we're gonna have, can we say we're gonna have critters? Possibly.
Yeah.
It's on the roadmap,
right?
It's on the roadmap, isn't it?
Okay.
It is, yeah.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
yeah.
More
Jason,
wildlife.
the term that Jason uses, which basically I feel like is the same term that's used in every AAA company, is living world, right? That's what people say. So we're gonna make a living world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we can have fishing and do farming.
Yeah. Fishing and daily quests and everything else. I'm just kidding. Don't nail me down on that and like later. So
Right.
Yeah, critters is something we have already experimented with, and it looks pretty good. That we'll have. We don't know yet how closely tied they'll get to gameplay, but to have some smaller creatures roam the world is something I'm almost certain that we're going to add, most likely pretty soon, since most of the systems are already working. I was talking about the robot companion we have. It's also using a similar system, so that makes it rather easy for us to add that. But we just don't want to like throw them in. Like, we want to like think a bit and see what we can do to get a little bit of gameplay out of them, and instead of them just being cosmetic. That's why we didn't add that for now, but we will see where this one goes.
There's a question from, I won't have the exact answer, but I'll still answer it, from Grey 8 Eyes. I'm not good at this. They were just asking about the itch buyers getting their Steam keys. It's something we're working on. We don't have the exact date on when you'll get your keys, but it's something we're working on getting to you.
Yeah, and I think the most, the real question here is like, will they arrive in time? And yes, our plan is to deliver them several days before the game launches. Like, you're not going to be able to play until the game launches, but we are going to get the key to you early so that you don't have to wait.
Yeah. Another question, which is I'll answer because it's super easy. Dark Crow 7 asks if the ore deposits take explosive damage, and no, they're protected. You can't accidentally just wipe out your resources on the map.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a cool mountain range that we found here.
Some person just says they're super hyped for the game. So I was just going to say that out loud because that feels good.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I'm going to say it. I'm not answering anything. But they said that it looks cool, so I am going to repeat what they said. Thank you very much for saying something like that. That's super cool.
It's really nice to hear. We spent so long working on this, and we're super excited to finally get it out in your
Patrick,
hands.
how long for you? Patrick, by the way, Patrick's the creator. This is why I keep going to him for this. And I joined them after he had already been working for several years. And I think Jason might even be 6 months or a year after I joined, but how long for you, Patrick?
I've started working on this roughly 6 years ago. So in summer, it's going to be 6 years.
Do you know, when it's 6 years, you don't even say 6 years, you say back in 2018. Like, that's so long ago.
It is.
Or the 2020s. Wow.
Time passed by quickly. But
Yeah.
we're finally where we want to be in terms
Yeah.
of what features we have, and I hope you're all going to enjoy Foundry once it's out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the jungle right now. Do
I'm
you
coming
guys want
towards
to
you.
join me in the jungle and let's have a walk through the jungle?
So this is probably the densest biome that we have.
Yes.
It's so insane,
Purposely
Jason.
made it so dense. Like
This was literally
a different
like
vibe, right? A different feel of being like these towering trees above you and being claustrophobic.
you have to
There's so
understand
many
that
cool little
before Jason put this biome in, all the trees were like a quarter the height of this thing. And then Jason's like, hey, look what I did. I made these super huge trees. The game runs terribly.
Fix it.
And it's just because like these crazy trees have all these like intersecting cards and they're humongous, and we had to make some melodies and
Hey,
do
I
some
did
other
some-
things. And
I did some work to help you there.
yeah, you did.
I did some.
But you were just like, hey, what if the trees are like 8 times larger? Is that a good idea? And Patrick's like, that looks like a good idea. So now we have
see,
the
Patrick
most
said it's
insane
okay.
jungle. That's great.
Yeah, and I have to say, I think the jungle is my favorite biome because of this. It's so dense, it's so cool.
It's so much. It's so much.
Yeah, and like you barely see the sky. It's all tightly packed. There's trees everywhere, lush vegetation,
Yeah.
plants. It just feels very
those
cozy.
moments where you get the light dappling through and just kind of, it gives you just a warm feeling of love inside.
Then you arrive at the river, like here I just did. Just looks gorgeous.
So many trees. There's just so many trees. It's absurd.
Yeah, I was just gonna say about the art in general. I'm starting to see, players create their own art, like their own fan art about the game, and that just really touches me, warms my heart to see that kind of stuff. That's so cool.
Can you generate an ocean world with a bunch of small islands to create a logistical nightmare for yourself? Well, currently you cannot, but that would be linked to what we previously said about the customization of the world generator. It would certainly be interesting to create a couple of settings that would increase the amount of water and make more lakes and rivers and oceans and all those cool things. So maybe at some point, chances are looking good.
Maybe. Okay. It's worth risking this. This might not. How long is left in the stream? Is it just a couple of minutes?
We can go as long as you guys want to show stuff.
So I want to show
is
something.
Generally between 1 hour and 90 minutes. So like if there's more you want to show off, let's have at it.
Okay. I'm gonna try and debug spawn something, and it might crash the game, and then that's the end of the stream, and we'll thank you very much. But if not, just give me 1 second.
Do it.
I'm gonna hit the button.
I'm curious. I think I know what
Okay. Where? Okay. Did you catch that on stream?
I did. You just
Okay,
spawned
so
some water.
Yeah, I just wanted to show is like I was mentioning this before. So really, you don't have any control over the liquids right now, other than like placing some blocks to remove liquid or digging out the blocks around them for the liquid to flow. But both in terms of just like creativity and making nice areas is like eventually we want to let you be able to actually move water around. So you were asking about, hey, can I make a logistical nightmare? Well, you could world gen one, and you could also craft one and save and load that and be like, hey guys, I made the worst world for you. Would you like to play in my water world? And you could play as Kevin Costner, the factory builder. Just have a wonderful time.
What a pretty little stream you made there.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Also, by the way, the debug spawn of the liquid has issues. So if you're looking at what I debug spawned in terms of liquid and you're like, hey, this looks broken, like what Jason just did, the answer is that's why it's not in the game yet. It's because it's a debug tool that I'm working on that works a bunch of the time.
I'm totally zoomed in on the graphical issues to make that very clear.
Yeah, so.
There, I'm fixing it.
So, are you also going to try to do this on top of a mountain where it will most likely really crash the game, or are we staying?
It looks really bad along the hills. If I'm being honest, I like what happened is I would mention this before. So Jason joined after me, and the water is mostly my programmer art right now, and me and Jason need to sit down. Like it actually looks good. Like just the streams and rivers, if you're sitting down next to it, it doesn't really look great when it's flowing down a hill yet, but you can't spawn it there, so that's how I cheat that. But me and Jason need to sit down and work together like we used to, and make this look good and make this look great. So I don't want to spawn it on the mountain because I'm going to be embarrassed. But you can. Where are you right now? Here, come here. Like, yeah, you can fill these areas out, and this looks kind of cool.
There you go. Now, the forest trees are underwater.
Yeah. So.
Yeah,
and by the way,
great.
we say water. What I should really say, and you can actually debug spawn this as well, but like there's one other liquid right now in the game, so it'll be liquids. Like, so we have water. We're not going to go into all the other liquids that you will find in the world, but there will be other liquids beyond water.
This is like a swamp. It's a jungle swamp. It's
cool. Okay,
cool.
I think we showed the biomes. We haven't really. Let's visit the mountain. The mountains are still very bare bones. There isn't much. I mean, they are mountains, but at some point we'll have some more smaller things on them as well.
Oh, do you have charges on you?
I do.
Jason has.
Do you want to make? I don't know if you showed this already, but and I mean, people who've watched the other streams, make a cave, because we have like something similar to the Minecraft style lighting, basically. So you have dynamic GI, and then you dig out a cave, and it's dark inside, and you actually have to place lights to brighten it up. Do you understand how a cave works? That's nothing. That's just, that doesn't show anything. A cave, you need a tunnel that goes into the mountain, not this way.
We're working on it.
Come on.
Tell me when you start working on it, because it's not clear to me that anyone's working on that. Look, you want it?
I am.
Trying to do a tunnel.
Yeah. Patrick has you covered. Don't worry, Jason.
Going to turn on the flashlights here. So.
My tunnel, my cave is way better, I bet, than your guys's.
It's actually Patrick.
It goes to black. Come on.
Come stand where I am, Patrick, and watch what I don't know if you've seen this before, but watching someone detonate C4 is actually really cool. One sec, let me equip some C4, and then I'll go blow this up. Oh, I can't see.
Sure.
Who wants to see the artist cave?
Oh yeah, that's
cool. To see the programmer cave.
We're going to show your cave right in a second.
But yeah,
That
the
will
light,
give
the way it fills is super cool.
It's really great, yeah. And also the fact, like, it's going completely
Okay,
black.
his cave's better.
Is it? No.
Oh, I'm
Okay,
sad.
now you got me curious.
It's much better.
Let's see.
I'm so sad. Okay.
You guys have
Look at this. It's such a good cave. Can I tell you guys something? Is you know the big building we showed at the beginning? For those who weren't there, we showed this huge building that Jason built, and I shared that with the fine folks at Paradox. I sent them some screenshots of it, and our producer there was like, "This whole thing makes me sad. My factory's so ugly." He was just like, "Oh my god, this is so good."
It should inspire you people. Come on. Oh, you're going deeper.
Yeah,
Ooh.
throwing them from far above. See if I can hit the cave. Yeah.
I need to put
Oh,
some...
hit the other cave? I can go stand in there. Here, this is where the other cave is if you're trying to reach me.
I'm putting some struts.
Yeah, can
Putting some
connect them.
building supports in here. Make it look cool. I'm gonna build you guys in. You're gonna be trapped. You're gonna blow yourself out.
Oh no.
Someone actually asked, does the elevator dig a hole for you? And the answer is yes. You can use the personal elevator. What's cool is like you use the scanner, and the scanner will help you identify the depth of the different resources, and then you can set yourself up a personal elevator, and then set the depth of the stop you want, and basically, ta-da! It goes down, digs and dings for you, and now you can go up and down and start setting up your underground mining
Yeah.
facility.
And for those who played before and expressed frustration that only the character elevator automatically digs, here's one for you. We have changed it so that the freight elevator is now also able to dig. You still need to place both ends, so you need to get down somehow, but once you have those two pieces placed, if there's still some terrain in between, it will automatically be dug out. So another one for the convenience.
Yeah. The freight elevator basically is like how you get the resources back up. So the personal elevator is for you. Freight elevator is basically like a conveyor that goes from lower level to higher level.
Yep.
Is that all the things? That might
Trying
be
to
all
blow
the things.
myself out of this mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
I
fun
need to get out of
messing
here.
around with all the systems. Almost there.
Almost.
Oh, I can see you guys.
I can feel it.
I can feel it.
Oh yeah!
There we are.
Oh, I didn't do it in time. I was gonna lock you guys in.
Too slow. Too slow. Too slow.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay. Is there anything else? Shall we show
I
more
think that's all the things.
decor parts? Or is this it for
I
today?
think this is good. I think like they're gonna get it soon. We're just trying to tease. We're not trying to reveal
we're
every
not
single
showing
little thing, right?
Yeah. This is the time where we repeat. If you like what you see, please wishlist us on Steam. It helps us a lot. And
Mwah. Beautifully
comes
done.
out on the
Mwah.
2nd of May, which is actually
Early access,
So-
May 2nd.
yeah, which is today in 2 weeks. So it's really
God.
close now.
It's so soon.
I gotta get to work.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is it. Thanks for everyone who asked questions and who joined us on this stream. It was a lot of fun. And we're going to do another one next Thursday, same time. The topic of the next one will actually be mostly to answer community questions. We'll probably load up some endgame factory and just fly around a bit and try to answer as many community questions as possible. And that is it.
Thanks, guys. Thank you so much for spending this time with us.
Thanks, everybody.
See you next time.
I'll
Bye.
show.
Bye.